You want to drink 1 cup of turmeric water every single night or morning for amazing benefits. The active compound in turmeric is called curcumin, and there is some serious research on this one compound that you need to know about. But before you follow any of the advice I'm going to share with you, obviously check with your doctor to get an okay, especially if you're on medications, because you can't always come off certain medications, cold turkey. The first thing I want to talk about is NSAIDs, like ibuprofen and aspirin. In one study, curcumin was just as effective as ibuprofen in reducing pain from arthritis, but without the side effects. Curcumin also showed some similar benefits to aspirin, which is quite amazing because the problem with aspirin is it can burn a hole in your stomach. Let's get to number 2. Corticosteroids like prednisone. I used to take this for poison ivy every single year until it eventually stopped working. Curcumin in one study showed comparable results to prednisone in reducing inflammation for rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, and irritable bowel disease. Number 3, curcumin showed antidepressant effects similar to Prozac and Zoloft in reducing symptoms of depression. Apparently, the theory is that it increases serotonin and dopamine, very similar to the SSRIs. Number 4, curcumin has anti-diabetic properties. Some studies shows that curcumin can have similar effects to metformin in supporting blood sugar control in type 2 diabetes. As you may or may not know, there's a black warning label on metformin because one of the dangerous side effects is called lactic acidosis. So just maybe curcumin in turmeric might be a possible substitute. Then we get to number 5, anticoagulants. These are the things that thin the blood. The anticoagulation or anti-clotting factors in curcumin are similar to warfarin and aspirin. This could be used as a substitute, especially if for some reason they can't take certain medications. Number 6, statins. In certain studies, which I'll list down below in the description, curcumin showed a decrease in LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, as well as creating a positive effect on the endothelial layer of the inside of the artery, which is given more of a protective effect because the way that statins work is they just basically block cholesterol. Curcumin instead works a different way. It basically helps you optimize your lipids. Number 7, chemotherapy. So there's a drug called 5-fluorouracil, and this is a chemotherapy drug. There was a study comparing curcumin to this drug. So apparently curcumin has some effects of slowing down or inhibiting the growth of certain cancer cells, while at the same time protecting the normal cells. Number 8, anti-inflammatory drugs, especially for irritable bowel disease. Curcumin was shown to decrease the side effects from both Crohn's and ulcerative colitis in a comparable fashion to a drug called mesalamine. Number 9, hypertensive drugs. Curcumin's pretty potent effects on the endothelial layer on the inside of the artery, creating a significant decrease in stiffness in the artery, as well as lowering the blood pressure. And number 10, curcumin has a pretty potent antifungal effect. Collectively, that's an antimicrobial effect. It can inhibit certain pathogens, especially fungi. While the effect of curcumin is not an actual substitute, it can actually potentially help or enhance the effects of other drugs with lessening the side effects, especially when you get into someone taking antifungals or antibiotics that then create resistance. Now these microbes become superbugs and they're almost impossible to destroy. Now the question is, when would you want to take your curcumin? In the morning or at night or before a meal? Well, it depends what kind of problems you have. If you have more arthritis, I would recommend taking this drink in the morning. If you have more digestive problems, I recommend you take this right before you eat. If you have more problems with other issues like anxiety or sleep related, then take it right before you go to bed. So if you want to increase the bioavailability, take it with some fat or with a meal, or you can take it with black pepper. And this is because curcumin has poor bioavailability. When you take turmeric, you only get very, very tiny amounts of this curcumin. Because if you take a look in nature, what curcumin really is, it is a pesticide, and it also has other properties to protect the plant from UV radiation. So when we take it ourselves, we could piggyback on all of the different effects, and the effectiveness is going to start on your digestive tract, okay? And then you're going to absorb some of it. The microbes even consume some of it, and then they create additional compounds that help you in many different ways. One being reducing inflammation. This is why it's so good for inflammation in your gut. Another thing it'll do, it'll increase several strains of the beneficial bacteria while also inhibiting some of the pathogenic bacteria, which is pretty wild. Some of the mistakes that people make, taking way too much, or they might take it but without the black pepper. Black pepper helps the absorption by 2,000%. What you want to do is you want to take a glass of water, warm water, okay, and you want to put about a half of a teaspoon of turmeric powder in the water, and then you want to take your black pepper, take a little pinch of it, put that in the water, mix it into it with a half of a lemon. You just drink it down. It's slightly warm. It's not boiled, and then experience the benefits. Another way to take it is through making this what's called golden milk. So you're going to mix a half of a teaspoon of turmeric in either milk or coconut milk. I would recommend coconut milk. That seems to be pretty delicious. Then you're going to add a fourth of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a little pinch of pepper, and you're going to heat this up, not to a boil, but just before a boil, and you're going to sip it. It makes a wonderful drink. And this is the one that I probably would recommend before bed. Now, another way you can take this is with a smoothie. A half of a teaspoon of turmeric with a cup of kefir. I would recommend like sheep kefir if you can find it, or even goat's milk kefir, grass-fed. And then you take a half of a cup of blueberries, you put it in a blender, and you blend it, and you have a wonderful drink. Now, another way you can take turmeric, and this is mainly if you have a sore throat or you have this cough that you just can't get rid of. It's for the immune system. You take a half of a cup of hot water, okay? Because you want to have it hot, but not to the point where you boil the water, but just make it really hot. And with this one, you're going to add a level teaspoon of turmeric and then a tablespoon of raw honey. And you're going to kind of dissolve as much as you can in this hot water. And then you're going to slug that down once or twice a day. Your throat is going to feel wonderful. And again, if you have more arthritis, inflammation, take it in the morning. So that way all day you have less inflammation. Or if you have other problems, definitely sleep, stress, other issues that are not related to inflammation, you can take that before you go to bed. But also remember, if you have digestive issues, take it right before you eat. It will help prevent bloating as well. Now, if you haven't seen my other video on turmeric, you should check it out. I put it up right here.